Hello, this is a special edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News for the November 4 election, 1997. I'm Roger Norham. There, of course, is the election for county executive and legislators, but there are also 3 candidates running for 2 seats on the Mamaroneck Town Council. During this program, myself and my colleagues will chat with the candidates in hopes that will help you make your decision better informed when you go to the polls. Terms for the Mamaroneck Town Council are for 4 years, and council members receive a stipend of $5,000 a year. 2 incumbents, Paul Ryan, a Democrat, and Valerie O'Keefe, a Republican, are seeking re-election. A 3rd candidate, Judy Myers, a Democrat, is also in the race. So without further delay, let's meet the candidates.
My name is Paul Ryan. I've been on the town board for almost 7 years, a deputy supervisor for the last 2 years under Elaine, and I'm running for re-election for my second full 4-year term, plus a couple of years filling in at the beginning.
What do you feel in the time that you've been on the town council, what are you most proud of as far as accomplishments? You know, there's so many things that we've been able to accomplish, which is the reason that I keep running. We keep doing the Hommocks Park Apartments, which they're now throwing off about $100,000 a year in rental to the town, which goes to reducing the townwide tax. And that's a big accomplishment, and of course award-winning architecture and everything. And housing for our volunteers and police and fire department. Our recreation facilities, I'm the liaison to our Town Recreation Commission. We've expanded the ice rink to full year with the roller dome in the summer months. We just added 2 new pools, a training pool and a little toddler, spray area this summer. We did that without raising taxes by doing user fees. We're going to be redoing the Hommocks fields and back of the Hommocks school. We're adding 4 new locker rooms to the Hommocks ice rink, primarily because of the emergence of hockey as a big sport for girls now, and the girls need their locker room too. So we keep doing and doing and doing. We renovated the Weaver Street Firehouse. We've been very active with the Bonnie Breyer lawsuit that I think all the town residents are familiar with by now, and we've been trying to keep Bonnie Breyer as an open space. You know, I live in the village of Mamaroneck, part of the town of Mamaroneck, and we get plagued by flooding in the village. And Bonnie Breyer Country Club, it acts as a natural retention basin for floodwater to prevent us from getting flooded down at the lower end of the stream there. Sure. I was going to say, what do you see if you were indeed re-elected to another 4-year term? What are the biggest challenges that the town faces in the coming years?
Biggest challenges are in the way of taxation. It's the biggest worry to our residents. We've done surveys, and although I don't think you needed a survey to tell you that people are concerned about high taxes. So it's keeping the townwide tax rate down, as we've been able to do for the last 4 years. It's keeping the part-town taxes down. It's a matter, one of the biggest challenges will be revaluation of properties, which hasn't been done since the 60s. Last year, we thought the county would go ahead and do it, and the governor vetoed that. So we have to look at different ways of doing that. Right now, the town is losing about $300,000 a year in certiorari's. And that's about 6% of our budget, So we're continually behind the 8 ball before we even start to have budget proceedings.
Is there much thought being given at the town council level, and perhaps there have been some studies too, regarding merging some more joint efforts with either the village of Larchmont or the village of Mamaroneck?
Well, there have been 2 recent studies having to do with Larchmont Village. The first one that came out was with the fire departments, and the second with the police department. So the possibility of merging, either one or both of them. And if not merging, maybe using consolidation of services, especially with the police department.
Is this something that makes sense to you?
I believe it makes sense. I think it makes sense from a taxpayer standpoint. The 2 governments would save, probably around $1 million a year. which is, you know, a considerable sum. But both governments have to get together on it, and both governments have to want it to take place in order for it to take place. But I think if there's no merger, there are certain things we can at least share. We could share things like a desk dispatcher, a DARE officer, a youth officer, things like that that would save money and still keep each department individualized.
Sure, sure.
I'm here with Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Elaine Price. Now, Elaine, we have this upcoming election, but you're running unopposed, so that must be a real load off. How many terms have you served thus far?
I have served two-year terms, and then I'm going for my third two-year term. And yeah, it's a load off. It's nice. It's nice that the community has confidence in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But it is important to get platforms out and what you stand for and what you have done. And sometimes it's very hard to do that when you're running unopposed.
Well, what are some of the largest issues that you'd like to tackle in the coming years?
Okay, the overriding concern is taxes. It has always been, always will be. It's a concern that dominates our thoughts. How we maintain our quality of life, move forward by keeping our taxes down. We use user fees. We have generated increased revenues from the Homix Park apartments, from the ice rink, from the pool. All of those revenues go to keeping the taxes down. We have aggressive grant programs to do bank stabilization along our brook in the town. We have just applied for 3 more grants for infrastructure. It is work. Our town government is characterized by work. No sound bites, no glittering generalities. We get the taxes down because we have done this, this, and this. We are able to maintain quality of life by doing this, this, and this. So the overriding question is, how do we continue that and keep taxes down? Re-eval is very much in the forefront of our thoughts. Our assessments have been down. As I say, had our assessments remained stable or had increased, we would have a flat budget. We are looking very seriously at reevaluation. We think it is the way to go. I strongly believe it is. I believe some members of the community are subsidizing other members, and that's wrong. As an elected official, I can't say that it's right and try to just gloss over that. And our kids and our families are foremost in our thoughts. Traffic, how we expand recreation, how we keep this community together. It's restraint, it's negotiation, it's arbitration, it's keeping a very level discourse in the way we deal with people, and to keep a very strong community. We've involved teenagers, we've involved our young, we've involved our elderly, and they've all been part of the process. We will continue to meet that challenge. It's very work-oriented, but it's a very special community. It's been a privilege to serve. I really look forward to continuing in another 2 years with the same kind of tone and the same attention to detail and follow through and work ethic. So I thank you all out there for supporting me.
Well, I certainly see the fire in your eyes as you describe all of those things you'd like to accomplish over the next 2 years, and it's great to see that you have such passion. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now we're talking to Judy Meyer, candidate for the Mamaroneck Town Council, and you're running on the ticket of the Democrats.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Judy Myers, and I have lived in Larchmont for 14 years. For the past 2 years, I've been co-president at the Murray Avenue PTA and Murray Avenue Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 2 years prior to that, I was the president of the Junior League of Westchester on the Sound. So I've been very, very involved in the community, which is really the reason that I would like to be on the town council, is because of my community connections.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what made you run for office. So.
The community is what's inspiring me, motivating me. I think there is a real need for and room for someone with very strong community connections at this point. In the Junior League, I worked very closely in connection with the Mamaroneck CAP Center, the Head Start Center for the kids there, where we redid rooms and built a library for them. in Murray Avenue PTA, I worked very closely with parents, both in moving the 6th grade out of Murray Avenue School over to the Hummocks, and working closely with parents last year. During the spring, we had a series of awful bomb threats, and required a great deal of working with the parents and the town government and the police to try to bring a sense of calm.
Now let's turn to the future. In
Yes.
case you are elected on November 4th, what do you want to do? What are your goals that you've set for yourself?
I think, to me, the biggest issue really in this campaign is community. It has all to do with community and very little to do with politics. And I think really the issue is how can we enhance the quality of life in our community, keep our community safe and active and clean and affordable. And so it really is an issue of trying to enhance the quality of our life while keeping taxes down, keeping them stable. And I think that's what it all comes down to.
This is the first time that you run for political office? How do you like it so far?
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it more than I thought I would. It's fantastic meeting so many community members, going door to door, going to coffees.
Standing at the railroad station.
Standing at the railroad station in the freezing cold this morning. But what's really heartening is that almost to a person, everyone I've met and talked to loves this community. I mean, this is a community that is absolutely loved by almost, I think I've met maybe 1 or 2 disgruntled residents, and that's all. And that's very heartening, just to see just to know that you live in a place that people love living in, and that they choose to live here. They want to be here, and they want to see it better, and they want to be involved. And I think it's very evident.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best in the election.
Thank you.
I'm here with Mamaroneck Town Councilwoman Valerie Moore O'Keefe. Now, Valerie, you are an incumbent in this upcoming election. How long have you been serving Mamaroneck Town?
Well, I was elected 3.5 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, for a term that will expire on the 31st of December of this year. So I'm running for my 2nd term.
Okay, now give us a little bit of history. Are you born and raised
No,
here?
I moved here, like many people, right after World War II in 1950. And I've lived here basically since 1950 with a hiatus. I went to law school in Washington, D.C., where I met my husband. And then when we were first married, we lived in Yonkers, because we couldn't really afford to live here, with a fake Bronxville address. And then we moved back here 20 years ago. And my children have gone to the Mamaroneck Public Schools. I'm an alumna of Murray Avenue and the old junior high school on the Post Road. So I've been around a long time.
So you've definitely planted your roots here
Yes, and
in
now
the
I'm a
area.
grandmother.
I think I'm the only grandmother running. Phyllis Whitner is a grandmother, and she is on the board, but she's not running right now. Okay. Now, what are some of the issues that you'd like to tackle if reelected?
Well, I think there's certain things that we always have to keep in mind, and as the only minority person, meaning the only Republican on a 5-person board, I also have the Independence Party nomination and endorsement, and also the Conservative Party. What I do is I try to be a fiscal watchdog, and I try to look for ethics in government and just kind of keep an eye on the process. And I think I've been successful in doing that in some of the work that I have uncovered, a few kind of procedural things that I didn't think were so good, and we've now made changes in some accounting procedures and other things. So I've done that. I also give a voice to people who do not belong to the majority party, so at least they feel like they're enfranchised and they have a voice speaking for them. But some of the things that I'd like to look forward to is I really think that we have to identify more playing fields and build some and find them, because the kids are just all over the place, and according to the demographers, they're going to increase the population of children. And I also am interested in senior housing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean publicly financed senior housing, but some kind of accommodations for people who want to leave these great big houses and can't really afford to keep them up, and sometimes it's a single person. And we really don't have anything like condos or co-ops that are set up for seniors. And I do Meals on Wheels in New Rochelle, and I've been in many, many senior places in New Rochelle, Mamaroneck, White Plains, and you can have very attractive kind of living arrangements for seniors that accommodate their needs. So that's something I think we've got to look around, see where there's some maybe developable land, not necessarily do it ourselves, but look forward that way. Of course, we always have the problem of the tax base eroding because of the successful certiorari's. So to keep the services the same, if our tax base goes down, we have to raise the tax rate, which is a problem, and I think we have to look toward reassessment. But I'd really like to do county reassessment.
Okay, well, it seems like you've got your hands full, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Well, win or lose, I want to thank you and the staff of LMC-TV. You've been very kind to me over the last 4 years, and you've taught me how to be a little bit better on TV. So thank you, Alicia.
It's been a pleasure having you here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Noto, you're a former mayor of Mamaroneck, and nowadays you're a county legislator and you're up for re-election. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Well, as I hope many people know, I was mayor for 9 years, and I spent many hours on LMC-TV doing a number of things. And since 1993, I have been a county legislator representing parts of Mamaroneck and also Rye Brook, Portchester, and Harrison. And I'm currently the majority leader of the county board. And it's an interesting experience. I mean, it's obviously a little different than being mayor, but I enjoy it very much. And again, I'm seeking my third term in the county board.
Just briefly, what does the county legislature do?
Well, the county board is actually the policy-making body of the county government. So we are the ones that set policy in terms of running our parks and sewage treatment plants and the airport and the college and the medical center and the golf system and the park system. So we actually have quite a wide-reaching impact, although I think many people probably don't identify with their county government as they do with maybe the federal, state, or even the local government.
Now, for the next 2 years, in case you are elected, what are the goals that you have? What do you want to achieve?
Well, primarily keeping property taxes down is my number one priority. I mean, I think the taxes represent the greatest threat to the future of this county. It discourages businesses. It hurts people who want to buy homes. It hurts senior citizens who are living in their homes. So I think we need to continue the effort to keep taxes down, whether through outsourcing or simply reducing the payroll or getting people off county government, welfare reform. I mean, these are ways we can save money. Beyond that, I think we need to continue our focus on cleaning up the Long Island Sound and pursuing some of the programs that we have proposed as a part of my task force on families, which is to combat domestic violence, to enhance child support collection, and to beef up our handling of child sex abuse cases, which is a very serious problem in Westchester.
So it does sound like it's a full agenda for the.
Well, there is a lot to do, and I like any other job, it's what you make of it. And I think there are many things that we can do at our level that improve the quality of life for everyone. And I hope if I am reelected, I can have an opportunity to focus on some of those issues, but primarily keeping taxes down, which I think should be the #1 priority for everybody in government.
When you look back the 4 years that you've been in the county legislature, what was the best experience, or what was the most satisfying experience?
Well, there have been a few. I mean, I think getting the county focused on cleaning up the sound has been important to us. Enacting the first anti-bias reporting law in the county history was meaningful to me. And I think some of the work I did on the task force on families in creating a domestic violence council, in creating a program for better support collection for our children, and bringing the board to focus on the problems of families and children, which we never had before. And I was the first co-chair of the task force on families when we first created it, and it has been an enduring task force, and I think it's something I've enjoyed a lot, and I hope to continue that as long as I'm a legislator.
And that's also an ongoing process, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best for the upcoming election.
Thank you very much. I hope hope it works out.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Carozza, you're running for county legislator. You're running against George Latimer. Well, first tell us who you are.
Thank you. I'm a single mom. I brought up 2 children as a single mom since 1984. I'm a person who put myself through law school, put myself through college, not in that order. And then I went out and I started my own law practice. I currently have a law practice in New Rochelle.
I see. And you live in the area, obviously.
Yeah, I live in the unincorporated town of Mamaroneck. I live in the Pine Brook area, which is somewhat near the movie theater.
Is this the first time that you run for political office?
Yes. I have spent a lot of time in the past volunteering, which I always took very, very seriously, but I've never run for political office before. As a matter of fact, sadly enough, I had somewhat of a disdain for politicians. That's something I'll never become. People think of a politician as somebody who has a smart answer rather than the truth. I've worked very hard for many years to build up the reputation of having integrity, and I will do nothing ever to change that.
So what made you run in the election? What made you choose to be a politician?
I, like many other people, read the local paper, the Gannett paper, on a daily basis, and I became more and more upset at what I was seeing. Particularly, what brought my attention to the real need for somebody to get in there with skills in the county legislature was the issue on the courthouse. And it did end up costing us a lot more money because of inaction. I've subsequently learned, I don't know if this is true, but I've learned that a lot of the problem was political fighting between the county executive and the coalition of the Board of Legislators, the Democrats and the few Republicans along with that group.
Now, in case you are elected on November the 4th, what are the goals that you have? What would you like to do or achieve?
Well, of course, just like I would say everybody else who's running, I would hope to and work very hard to keep our taxes down. I learned how to tighten the belt as a single mom. I find it very important, however, that the skills are brought to the forefront. I would hope to spend a lot of time studying the particular issues. Issues come, issues go. What does remain is the ability of the particular county legislator. And it's important that the county legislator be in attendance at the various meetings where the job gets done. And that county legislator has the ability to research the issues and to solve problems. That's what I do for a living.
So, yeah, you really want to apply the experience that you have gained over the years to this to the position of county legislator.
Absolutely. I, at this moment, deal with individuals, one person at a time, in solving their problems. I can take those exact same skills, I'm a people person, and apply them to a large community of people.
Well, good luck in the election, and thanks very much for coming.
Thank you for asking me.
George Latimer, you're the incumbent county legislator. Tell us a little bit about you. A lot of people will know you, I assume, but still.
Well, I grew up here in Westchester County, and I'm 43 years old. In the next few weeks, actually, I turned 44 right after Election Day. And went to public schools here in Westchester, graduated in 1970, and went on to Fordham University, where I did my undergraduate work, and I have a master's degree from the Wagner School at New York University. By profession, I'm a marketing executive with Benchmark Hospitality, which develops hotels and conference centers around the nation, and I do a variety of different marketing research tasks for the company. I've been with them for the last 10-plus years, and prior to that, I worked for subsidiary companies of some major U.S. corporations, Nestle, ITT, of that nature. I live in the city of Rye, and have lived there with my wife in the current home that we live in since 1985, and I have a 12-year-old daughter. And my mom and dad are from this area originally. Unfortunately, they both passed away recently, but I have deep roots in this area and go back a number of generations.
For how many years have you been county legislator?
I've completed my 6th year, 3 terms as county legislature, running for my 4th term. And prior to that, I served a 4-year term as a Rye City Councilman, which in Rye, very similar to the Larchmont Village Board, is an unpaid council position. So you do that almost as a community volunteer work, although you do run for election. So this year, I'm running for my 4th term, and this will be my final term if I'm elected, because I made a commitment when I first ran that I happen to believe that there's a certain amount of time that you do these endeavors and you do them aggressively, but as in most community organizations, you know, you have rotation at some point in time and move on. But I still have some great passion for what I'm doing now, and there's so many important issues that I think we can still deal with in the next 2 years.
So what are the issues that you want to attack when you are elected?
Yeah, I think anybody who lives along these communities, Larchmont and Mamaroneck, certainly Rye, deals first and foremost with what we share in common. Long Island Sound is obviously the most notable thing, but there's a cluster of environmental issues that are very important. Cleanup of the Sound is one of them, dealing with household hazardous waste, dealing with our drinking water supply, dealing with the environmental impacts of the airport. I've been a leader in the legislature on all those issues. And issue by issue, my involvement in working out negotiations and bringing laws to pass to protect the Marshlands Conservancy, the Reed Sanctuary, resolutions in support of federal clean water laws and so forth have all been very much a part of my public record. Though you can't address any of these issues, environment and the rest, without dealing with the financial impacts of them, because it takes money to invest in infrastructure. We deal with the sewer district issue as being very important because we want clean water, but we also want to do it in an economical way, which is why I believe that the county has a regional responsibility and role to help Larchmont, Mamaroneck Town, Mamaroneck Village, and the other communities in being able to fund this repair. You can't go to Mayor Joe Lanza or Mayor Cheryl Louie or Supervisor Elaine Price and say, tough luck, you're on your own. The county government has a responsibility, and I've been fighting for that as a leader in the legislature on that point.
Is there, when you look back at your years in the legislature, is there, or what was the most satisfying experience that you had?
Well, I think probably one of the more recent ones comes to mind, and that was the work that was done to protect parkland in passive perpetuity. It is a complicated process to draft these laws. I'm not a lawyer by profession, so I turn to people who have that specific ability and listen and try to craft based off of that. And the end product, the voting for it in the legislature, the voting for it in committee, is really the end of the process. It's the development of it all the way through, meeting with different organizations to engage their support, to work out problems, and there are highs and lows in this, and you have to have an even temperament. You have to be focused on what the end result is, and I've learned that as a businessman, and I've learned that in public office, that it's very easy to make broad statements, it's very easy to be flashy and glitzy, but the real solid work happens oftentimes behind the scenes where nobody can see it, and the only way you can know it's being done is by talking to the individual and they evidence their grasp of the issue, and then you know that that person has worked through. So it's been a satisfying experience.
All right. Thanks very much for coming, and good luck in the upcoming election on November 4th.
Have a nice day.
So now you have been introduced to your candidates for Mamaroneck Town Council, and now it's up to you to go and vote on Tuesday, November 4th. Thanks for watching this special election edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Roger Norham. We'll see you at the polls.